Those are the two famous lines from the movie A Few Good Men. So can you handle the truth? Do you want to know the truth? As a journalist, my job is to report the truth. And living in Taiwan, where freedom of speech is highly valued, I can do my job without having to worry that I'll be censored or I get locked up for saying something wrong. And as one of the most vibrant democratic society in the world, Taiwan has come a long way. Because back in the old days, under martial law, media was under censored, and it was served as a mouthpiece for the government. Opposition members, they were suppressed or being locked up for speaking against the ruling KMT back then. But today, the ruling party is the DPP, which has a majority in the legislature. And only in a democratic society like Taiwan that people are allowed to speak freely. So we must not go back to the old days where the government gets to decide what we can say or cannot say. And if we let the government decide what is misinformation and what is not, we are surrendering our rights to freedom of speech. But even in Taiwan today, the Taiwan government can sometimes be a source of misinformation. Let me give you an example. For those of you who are familiar with the local media, you know that certain TV stations like the Formosa Television and SETTV, they are the pro-DPP channels. And most of the news that they report on are angled that are in favor of the government's position and policies. For example, with the upcoming referendum on the banning of the American pork import, they would angle the news to say that the ban. Okay, let me give you an idea of what the referendum is all about. It's a vote to decide whether the government's decision to open American import of pork containing rictobamine that should be reversed, because a lot of polls show that the majority of Taiwanese are against the decision because of the health reasons. So to urge the public to vote against the ban, these pro-DPP channels, they would report news that would they would report the news in an angle which would they would call the referendum a political ploy by the opposition party to discredit the government. So, is that really the truth? Well, it's up to you to decide. But that's just to give you an example on how the government, how the information can be manipulated by the government to its advantage. So, if we give the government the power to protect us from misinformation, it can use the power to sway public opinion to serve its interests. And we must not let that happen. So I want you to vote no to the government protecting us from misinformation. Back to you.